It's KIREI here for Hip Kit Club, and I have a brand new layout using the fabulously festive November kit. And my assignment was to add some interactive elements. So I've used the main kit, the embellishment kit, and the cardstock kit for this layout. Now, I knew I wanted to use this cute sort of advent calendar house paper. It's in the main kit. It's called Countdown, and now this layout sort of took a couple of different turns. I had different ideas and I sort of started and I thought I knew what I was going to do, but it kept changing along the way, but that's okay. So initially I was thinking I would use the windows and I would have them open with the photos behind, but I ended up feeling like my photos would have ended up I'd actually have had to print them quite small, and then you wouldn't have seen the elements on there and all of that sort of thing. And yeah, I wasn't sure that was going to work the way I thought it might. So I went slightly differently. So I'm still using the paper. As you can see here, I've cut out the house and I'm adding some foam tape to the top of it. Initially, I thought I'd add foam tape at the top, stick it flat at the bottom, and add some photo strips and I would tuck them in. But it sort of evolved from there because I still like the idea of opening up some of the windows on the house. So I end up raising it all. So you'll see that shortly. Anyway, then I needed to sort of have the house on something rather than it sort of floating. I decided that's what I wanted to do. So I used the green dot paper. It's called Better to Give, and I've just cut out a couple of hills, or and I'm just distressed the edges, and then again I've added some foam tape to the top of those, again just, and then the house can tuck in behind that. So that's sort of where I was going. So I've pulled out this paper from the cardstock kit. It's called Gingerbread. It's like a craft. And I'm just sort of working out my rows of photos. I've got a few square photos there. I don't actually use those ones in the end. I just use the 4 strips with the 3 portrait photos on each strip. Effectively, the photos are of decorations on my Christmas tree. So each year, I generally buy a few new decorations to add to my tree, and I have a really sort of eclectic mix. The sort of brighter and the more colourful, the better. So there's quite a lot of rainbow colours. We've also got quite a few handmade decorations I've either bought, some I've made myself, and then there's other decorations that have sort of some sentimental value. I bought them while on holiday. And there's quite a few Australian themed decorations because I grew up in Australia, and though I live in the UK now. So so I just sort of took photos of some of my favourite decorations, and that's what I wanted to document about. So I've got my strips here. I've cut a slit in the top of the house along, I think it's 11, 12 and 13, and I'm going to tuck those strips in behind there. Now, this is where I decided I would keep some of the little open windows. I wanted to do that, so I've cut those now, and then I'm just going to back those. I'm raising them on foam pads and backing it with more of the gingerbread paper. And then I've got 6 pictures, 6 little windows that I'm going to just pop some ephemera elements behind. So that's what I'm going to do. So sort of you've got the sense that it's a bit like an advent calendar, but I've got my photos tucked in on the strip. So I've effectively got 2 types of interactive elements on my layout. So you can see now I've obviously mounted and raised the backings for each of the apertures. So I'm just adding a little bit more foam tape to the rest of the advent calendar house, just not in the middle because that's where my 4 photo strips are going to be tucked. So, and then I can get that stuck down. So so this is where the layout went. So as I say, it did take a slight sort of turn, though I still was able to do the little cut-out windows, which I thought were cute. And I was still able to add the 12 photos, and which I wanted to do because I had, they were my favourite decorations, and that was sort of the idea behind the layout. So So now I can get these pieces stuck down, and then I can finish off with the decorating. And I do have one large photo. So effectively it's the photo of the tree, of course, with the decorations on it. So so I can then get that sorted. So if you are not Hip Kit Club subscriber yet, you can find lots of information on how to subscribe over on the website, hipkitclub.net. And if you've been thinking about subscribing and weren't sure, I have a 10% discount code that you can use, and you'll find all of the details in the description below this video. So yeah, great chance to try out a kit if you haven't before, and you get a discount as well, which is always great. So yeah, okay. And then I wanted to add a little tab. So this is just an old tab punch from my stash, again out of the gingerbread paper from the cardstock kit, and I'm just adding that to the top of each of them. And then I'm going to just add a small staple to each, just to make sure they're completely nice and secure. But it just adds another sort of a bit of texture, if you like. And then I'm going to add my embellishments into my little window. So I'm picking out suitable embellishments. I've got the little house. These are the puffy stickers, and they come in the embellishment kit. I've got stocking there. These are the chipboard shapes that are also in the embellishment kit, and I'm just having a look what I can find here. I've got a ho ho ho, and I think it's only the ho 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 I actually end up using from the chipboard shapes. And then what have I got? I put Merry Christmas down the bottom. It's actually behind number 25, so I thought that was appropriate. I switched out the stocking. I decided to have a slightly different colour. I've got a cute little dog there, all wrapped up with a scarf on. And that's the ho 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 going up the top there. And just need something else there. And I've got a little snow globe, and then I've got a couple of little puffy sticker stars that I'm just adding to some of the squares. And then I'm almost on the enamel dots as well. The enamel dots, they're stars, obviously they're stars. I'm just going to add some of those as well to each of the, well, not to everyone, but to most of the little apertures. So yeah, so that part then is done, and then I can start to work on getting my photo down. And at this point here, I sort of was thinking about titles as well, and it's one of those things. Often I've sort of worked through a layout, and then realise much later on, where am I going to put my title? So it's always a good idea to think about where your title goes, and I didn't do that here because I really struggled at the end where the title was going to go because I had the house making quite a focal point. I just was, where is the title going to go? So yeah, initially I thought it would go down on the green area, but that doesn't happen because of the added embellishments that I included there. So here's my tree photo. I've just no, I was thinking I was bringing in the title, but no, I've got some stars here that I thought I would add. Now I add these 3 stars. I do take them off later, and then I put them back slightly differently, mainly because of the title. You'll see. Okay, so the photo, as you see, I mounted it on the red dot paper. That's called Hearth and Home. Just adding a little bit of foam tape at the top just to keep it raised there. And that'll just sit below where the 4 photo strips are tucked behind. Then I love this floral paper. It is so gorgeous. And I have fussy cut most of the flowers out of one sheet. I had 2 sheets of this, and I'm working onto the second. It's called Floral Fantasy, and they're really pretty. So I definitely had to do a bit more fussy cutting here. So I'm going to fussy cut these out, and then I will add them along the bottom of the sort of photo and house, which you'll see when I do that, it fills up quite a lot of the space. And so, excuse me, fills up quite a lot of the space. And it meant that my title didn't work quite as well down there as I was hoping it would. So, yeah, note to self, think about where your title is going and stick with that, because it made it a little bit harder. I had to come up with a bit of a plan to how it was going to work. Okay, I've got these chipboard like flares shapes, and they're in the embellishment kit as well, and I'm just adding 2 of those and popping those into my flower cluster, little house, and a Christmas tree. And then I've got a couple of more of the little gold puffy stars, and they're actually in the main kit. I'm adding those into the bottom embellishment cluster. So so I'm nearly done, but it was, as I say, it was the title that then was quite difficult, and I did a lot of fiddling around off camera, trying to work out where I was going to add that title, because I've sort of filled in a lot of space, and was a little bit more challenging. I thought it was going to be easier than that. And I brought in the Lindy's Magical golden sleigh bells, and I'm just adding a little bit of gold splatters around the floral cluster at the bottom, and that's in the colour kit for this month. Okay, so this is what I've done. I actually realised that if I was going to add my title, I tried it on the bottom, it felt too low. I tried it on the photo, it just didn't work there. It sort of wasn't right. And on the top there, I did try it up there before I added this. It just got lost because I wanted to use Merry and Bright from the gold puffy stickers. So I realised I could just cover that up. So I've just cut a piece of the that black sort of grid gingham pattern paper, and I've then layered it with a little bit of vellum from my stash just to soften it down slightly, and then I can stick the Merry and Bright over the top of it, and that worked much better. It just stood out for me in that top section there. There wasn't too many different sort of squares and things like that, and as I said, it just didn't get quite as lost. I was just adding a little bit of glue behind some of the gold letters there on the back of the vellum so that I could then attach the vellum down on that side. You'll have seen my gold stars have come off, mainly because I had the gold title up there and I wasn't sure if it was too much. But anyway, I've added them back on just slightly differently. And then I've got my journaling, which I'll add down here to the bottom right, and I am done. So in the end, the layout came together and I'm really pleased how it worked out. I've got some cute interactive elements using the Advent Calendar House pattern paper, but I've also got the photo strips that I've tucked in behind. I hope you've enjoyed watching the process video, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.